from the wonderful Paolo Repetto Gallery. So can you tell us a bit your how do you feel to be in Artissima today?
Good. A lot of people.
Yes.
And our booth is about a theme. The theme is the alphabet, and we choose two aphoristic phrases of by Melotti. You can see up there the title.
Yes.
You
just
the bad flower. In the bad flower, there are all the vocals, one consonant, and many flowers. Enough of all melodic. And the other one is that one. Always by Melotti, and throwing the alphabet in the air, fly the words. So the theme of the stand is about the alphabet, and we have some artists.
So we lost Federica. You must have taken the audio. Yes, thank you. So we lost you for 1 second, Paolo.
Okay. No, I said we could start with Melotti.
Yes.
And we have this very funny word. Can you see? It's about the alphabet.
Yes.
And in this sculpture,
yes,
Melotti inscribed all the letters of the alphabet. You can see is
yes, fantastic.
A, B, C, D, etc. Is very funny, very light, usual like Melotti. And the other work is Calzolari, Paolo Calzolari.
Yes.
It's a sword. And can you see some phrases, some words?
Yes.
In this case, not a common word, but the word began a sort of sign. So there is not significance, but only the decoration, only a sort of arabesque. And so in this case, the color, the chromatism become some sign, salt and tempera and oil on paper. Paper and behind the wood. And the other artist, we can see Arienti, an Italian artist. In this case, we have the paper of the comic, and Arienti piega these comics and obtain this sort of sculpture with the paper.
Paolo,
yes,
they are getting many people in the booth at this moment.
Yes,
while we...
yes, sorry.
No, don't worry.
We can. We have a work of this one is by Arcangelo Sassolino.
Yes,
a young Italian artist. In this case, we have a vocabulary, a Latin vocabulary, and Sassolino, as usual, used the plug and almost destroy the books.
Yes. Oops. I think Paolo has disappeared. So in between, I just wanted to say again, thank you for everybody who is joining us now. We are going to start the Art Talks very soon via alphabetical order, because we had such a wonderful.
Sorry.
Paolo is back. Don't worry.
I'm back.
You're back. Okay. Perfecto.
Yes. I think it's very interesting is this one, the freeze, the fregio.
Yes.
It's by Bruno Munari, and we have all the letters of the alphabet, A, B, C, D, etc. And in this case, Munari invent the variation for every letter. And always of Munari, we can see this one is very interesting, very funny, because it's a series that did Munari. And in this case, Munari wrote in the paper, writing not readable, about a folk, a people unknown. It's a funny play, a funny game, and in this case, Bruno Munari invent a sort of ideogram that doesn't exist. So in this case, we have just the possibility of semantic, significative word, but it doesn't exist. So this there is no possibility to translate in something significant, just a sign, is just an arabesque decoration.
Paolo, thank you. Could I ask you what is your feeling of coming back, and how did you find Artissima 2021?
It's quite good.
Yes.
It's quite good. A lot of galleries, even in Germany, England,
yes.
And so on. And I think the quality is quite good.
Wonderful. Thank you, Paolo. Would you like to say something else about your gallery, your next fair, and then we leave you, because I know that everybody is in your booth at the moment.
Yes. The next fair we do Bruxelles, and we did Miart, you remember, and then Bologna, our fair in Bologna.
Fantastico. Grazie mille, Paolo. And I know you are very, very busy, and so I thank you everybody for giving us this time today. So thank you. And we will come back to you maybe a little bit later if you're still there.
Okay.
Grazie,
okay,
Paolo.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening. Bye.
Ciao, grazie.
Ciao, grazie. Bye. So now we are going to continue with Ab Ambar, gallery from Tehran. I think Vanessa is already here. Hello, Vanessa. How are you?
Hello, Carolina. Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you. How is Artissima for you?
So far, it's actually been really great. It's actually the 5th time the gallery has participated in the fair, and obviously not counting last year. So it's very nice to be back and to be showing art to people, and to obviously be back in Italy. I mean, the food's been amazing.
I can imagine. Yes. Okay, Vanessa, could you give us a bit the gallery statement? You know, your mission, your inspiration to the world, that everybody is listening here, and yes, please.
Absolutely. So the gallery is Ab Ambar. My name is Vanessa Bainu. I'm a director here. The gallery was originally founded in Tehran, in Iran, in 2013. to show Iranian artists abroad and to be able to take international artists into Iran, into Tehran, and to be able to show culture in contemporary art in Iran.
Yes.
We are now showing in London for the past year. We show at Cromwell Place, which is in South Kensington.
Yes.
We've just come out of a very busy freeze period, and it's our second fair in the past 3 weeks, which is a lot. We show mostly Iranian artists, but also artists kind of across the range, modern to contemporary, really. Artists with a background from the region, but also from abroad. The artist behind me actually here is Douglas Abdel, who is Lebanese Italian American, but grew up in the US. And we just had a fantastic show with him in London. A solo, it was almost a mini retrospective of his work. I can talk you through the booth.
Yes.
What
please.
I'll do is can you hear me okay?
Very well, actually. Perfect.
Okay,
yes.
Fantastic. I think the ear things help. Sorry, technology here. Let me spin the booth. So I'll give you a kind of a slow shot of our whole booth here. We are in the green section. We're booth 11, and it's a mixed presentation of 5 of our artists. So here we have Douglas Abdel. As I mentioned, he's Lebanese, Italian, American. He sees himself first and foremost as a sculptor, but he's very interested in Lebanese culture, in Phoenician culture, basically in language. And throughout his work, you can see this kind of coded language throughout all of it. He uses a lot of symbols. So the series here are his eichatic drawings, which are actually all new works that he has been making over the past year throughout lockdown. He makes a drawing every day. Each one is numbered and signed. He listens to music. He's very inspired by music. It's a huge part of his practice. He listens to a lot of hip hop, rap, trap, drill music. He sends me songs. I think he's cooler than I am, even though he's in his late 70s, which is very inspiring. And these are his eichatic sculptures. And for him, it's almost, eichatic is a term the artist has invented, and it's about a phonetic language. So it's making language visual. He always uses black and white to give the most impact to the viewer. So these are almost like sculptural drawings to him. As I mentioned, we showed him in London. It was the first time actually showing his work substantially in the last 30 years. He was very prominent in the 1980s in New York, but it's been really great to rediscover an older artist in his career and to show in such a fresh perspective.
Yes, yes, beautiful.
Here we have Taha Haidari, actually quite a bit younger, an Iranian painter that we work with. He works a lot, mostly paint, but a lot of kind of collaging of images. So this painting is called High Heels, and it's based off an Iranian magazine, women's magazine that was very popular before the revolution. And it was about educating women culturally. It was kind of almost promoting Western values. And so you can see there's a figure of kind of a woman being held up by a man, which started with layers. But for him, it's also the glitching and what's happened. So you can see it's almost when he's really inspired by video games, where you can see there's almost a glitch in the system and you see pixelation all throughout the image. So it's very much kind of a play on what's not right in society. Moving on to Hessem Samatavian. He's one of our youngest artists, actually, and he uses photography mainly as his medium, but mostly photographic processes. So the works actually are not photographs, but he's playing with the process in quite an interesting way. These works actually all sold, which is fantastic. So these are dipped in baths. So you're seeing he uses photosensitive paper, which he then dips in the darkroom. So dips them in the bath, so you almost get this sea-like appearance in the works, where you kind of see this kind of texturing, and that's the water coming up, and that's giving all the different papers you use have these different shades to them. So you can see in these smaller works here as well, they have this very beautiful meditative presence, almost like a Hiroshi Sugimoto, or to me almost Rothko. They've gotten a lot of attention at the fair, which has been fantastic. Some of his other works here, these are his Galaxy series. And this is, again, using photographic process in a really interesting way, where there's the 3 baths in the darkroom, and he's switched the process between the 2 baths. And he's actually used the kind of the emulsion that stops the image from developing, and he's splashed it onto the paper with a paintbrush. So those are these specks of light that you're seeing, and then he dips them into the photography solution. So it gives this very beautiful, almost galaxy-like appearance in the works, but it's all from the photographic process, and it's all been created in the darkroom, which is very interesting.
Thank you. I think it's wonderful, and the audio, I have to say, in your booth, it's wonderful. So it makes it really amazing to listen to you. How was Artissima for you? Was it quite interesting after a couple of months, to be here again?
It's been wonderful. I mean, I don't. There was an newspaper article today saying the Artissima, the fair, the slow moving sales but delicious food, and in some ways it does feel like that. It's been very, very Italian. Like all the Italians have shown up, which has been actually really wonderful. As I've mentioned, it's the 5th year doing the fair, so we have been building these relationships, which is what I think you have to do. Showing up at a fair, meeting with the clients, showing the artists, talking about them. Already, I think, working with Iranian artists outside of Iran, it is very important to educate, to talk about their practice, why what they're doing is so important. And I think fairs can be a great opportunity to take their work abroad and meet new people. I'll show you some of these last works on our booth, because we do have, this is our next upcoming exhibition, which we're actually opening next week. And this is Mohammad Ghazali. And this series is called Lost Perfect Lovers. Mm-hmm. And it's based on a modern day Persepolis. It's hard to see in the images, but one is of that you're really focusing in the foreground of the image. And the second is the background. So it's very much this take on the present and the past. And he's always looking at what the past was, which Persepolis was. And these photographs are all taken in modern day Iran and what he would kind of envision to be the modern day Persepolis. These series are a diptych. Each one is hand finished, so each work is unique. And we'll be showing Mohammed next week at Cromwell Place, opening on the Tuesday. Oh my goodness, what day is it? The 9th, I believe. So that's the next.
I adore the Cromwell Place. We were there during Freeze, and I think it's a wonderful, wonderful place for artists and art and galleries. It's beautiful, so very inspiring. Yes. I have to say, it was a labyrinth of passion. Thank you very much, Vanessa. I'm afraid we have to jump into another.
Of course.
Group. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's great to see you. Thank you so much.
All right. Goodbye. Ciao. Vanessa. See you in London, maybe. So we have Federica from Aural from Alicante. How are you, Federica?
Hello.
Actually, you
Hello,
are.
how are you?
Hello.
Hello, Carolina. Hello to everyone. How are you?
Nice.
I'm fine. Nice. I'm sorry for my English. That's not like the other one, but okay, I'm here. So hello to everyone. We are here at the Artissima Art Fair. We are with Aural Gallery. Booth number 9, brown booth, and we are very grateful to be here with you. Thank you, Carolina. I would like to tell you something about the gallery.
Yes.
The Aural Gallery opened in 2001 in Alicante, and since 2019 also opened a gallery in Madrid. Mm-hmm. So now there are 2 galleries. The gallery was founded with the mission of defending and supporting the work of national and international artists with an intergenerational relationship whose work focuses on the investigation and critical thinking. So today at Artissima, we are pleased to present a single project by Fernando Sinaga, the Spanish artist called Fernando Sinaga. I would like to tell you that this booth dialogues with an exhibition that opened last weekend at the Mao. the Museum of Oriental Art based in Torino. And the exhibition focuses on the, well, within the, yeah, the exhibition focuses on the intersection of two cultures, Eastern and Western. Well, on the one hand, it refers to Lorenzo Spirito's book called Il libro delle sorti e dei mutamenti, the book of destiny and changes. And on the other hand, for the I Ching, the oracular book of China's culture. The context of Torino, of the Mao and the Mao, with its amazing collection of art, of Oriental art, was the perfect place for the vision of the artists. So Fernando thought that the Maus was the perfect location for this exhibition. According to Fernando Sinaga, Western believes that they can know and also control their own future and their own destiny. So actually, the same exhibition should have taken place 2 years ago, but you know, the COVID, so maybe we cannot control our destiny. And many of Sinaga's work start from a scientific study, like for example, this work, this one about Occam's theory. But most are based on philosophical theory, like this one. Can you see? We love this work in our booth, and I chose this work. It's called La Via Recta, the right way. Mm-hmm. And in this case, Fernando Sinaga studied a text called The Right Way, wrote by Swansea. It was an ancient philosopher to one of the 100 schools of thought in the ancient China. And we can see in this work, we can see the fire writing. So the writing made with fire, in this case on wood. Yeah. Yeah, and in the other line, we see the barn ants concentrating the light in the center, becoming like a guide, that lighting our way. So this is a beautiful work from Fernando Sinaga that we choose today. We are Aural Gallery, booth number 9, and we are waiting for you at Artissima Fair.
Thank you, Federica. You've been curating this exhibition fantastically. Really, thank you.
We are waiting you to the Mao too, eh?
We will. We are coming. We're coming to see you. We will follow you. Now we are greatest fan of all of you that joined us the Art Talk. So thank you again, and I see that you have people coming. I think, you know, everywhere I go, I bring a lot of luck to everybody. So okay, ciao allora. We are going.
Bye.
Thank you, Federica. Grazie. A più tardi. And now we are going to Trento with Boccanera. Boccanera, hello. Is anyone from the Boccanera Gallery?
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you, Carolina.
Hello, Alice. How are you?
Thank you, Carolina, for the invitation.
Thank you to you for being with us, Alice.
Oh, let me show you. Okay. So Boccanera Gallery opened in 2007 from an idea of the gallerist, Giorgia Luca Boccanera, who wanted to support emerging artists. So she started with artists from the East and South part of Europe, and then moved to South America and also Europe. And yes, so this is our booth here at Artissima, called Yellow number 12. And the theme of this year's fair is Contratempo. Through the experiences of 5 of our artists, Bucanera Gallery deepens with the selected artworks the meaning of our representation that evolves in apparently dissonant sequence plans, constantly made of advances and delays. So Christian Avram, in his painting, describes moments that are always resolved a little before something happens. Or moving on to Andrea Fontanari, who paints snippets of time that cut fragments of images where the representations, almost like a film still, seems to be never over. Or again, Federico Seppi, in his sculptures, describes the complex relationship with nature. But then let's move on to Gabriele Grans, who fixes pictures on his canvases. This artwork is called Coyatis, and Gabriele is a young artist born in 1983 in a small town in Italy, near Belluno. The general theme of wild herbs and plants has long been central to his work. Let's think of Dürer's work, in particular, The Great Flood. The Coyatis painting belongs to a series of works that investigate another specific theme. Coyatis from the Greek means to do, and more precisely, to do from out of nowhere. The concept is very much related to Grani's research based on some reflections. First of all, the direct reference of the title is to an essay by Martin Heidegger that could be summarized as man measures himself poetically with reality in the sense that in performing actions, he measures himself to it. And in doing so, he knows it and knows himself. So I just want to come closer and make you see all the details of this painting. I hope you can see them because it's an oil on canvas and it's pretty amazing. It's not a photograph.
Yes, incredible, incredible.
Thank you. And an exhibition of Gabriele Grones will inaugurate soon at Capesaro in Venice on the 10th of December. So I hope to see you there if you can in the next month.
With pleasure. With pleasure. Please do post anything on the Art Talk so that everybody will know and will be aware of all your wonderful
Yes, of course. I just want to show you also the work of Deborah Hirsch, which is Firmamento, Pintura de Forro. Deborah Hirsch is a Brazilian artist born in São Paulo in 1967. Firmamento, Pintura de Forro, this painting illustrates the coexistence of the traditional and the digital and draws upon Baroque and colonial architectural forms, mostly inspired by colonial Brazilian churches. So the cloud shaped, which you can see especially here, are digital manifestations of data visuals representing internet activity on certain online browsers. So also, if you like Deborah Hirsch's work, I invite you to come and visit our venues in Trento and in Milan, where a sole exhibition of Deborah Hirsch is currently on view. So
thank you very much, Alice, and it's really wonderful booth. Grazie ancora to all your team for joining us tonight. Grazie. We will come back if anybody has some questions a bit later on. Thank you. Goodbye. Ciao. A più tardi. Bye. So now we are jumping on Katinka Bakaru. Hello, Katinka, are you there?
I am. How are you?
Yes. Hello. Hello. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me and welcome everyone.
Welcome.
We have a dialogue section that we're doing at Artissima. And to tell you very quickly, we brought 3 Zimbabwean artists. All of them are born free generation, which means that they were born after Zimbabwe became an independent state from the UK, from Rhodesia at the time. We're looking at what it means to be part of the beginning of that generation. So an artist born in 81, what it means to be at the end of that generation, an artist born in 95, the expectations they have of each other, but also how their materials exemplify exactly where they live in that generation. So I will start with the oldest of the artists, who's in 81, Admire Kamu Dengere. He represented Zimbabwe in the Venice Biennial in 2017. He works in printmaking. Each one of these little Post-its is made uniquely. He puts the paper on top of an inkstone. He draws on the back that renders the unique print on the front. He initially started making these because in Zimbabwe at the time and even today, the government is constantly turning off the lights. So he had to figure out a way at nighttime to work in his studio in a small space by candlelight. Of course, as larger works, they're quite beautiful. They speak about community. They speak about all the people that we come across. And they're quite rare. Usually these show in biennials and in museums, and they go directly on the wall. So it was nice that he made us 2 of these for the fair specifically.
Wow, fantastic.
We also see a new series of works by him. These are oil on newspaper, and they're on Romanian newspaper. So he's really interested in this parallel that's happening between post-colonialism and post-communism. What is happening, the eating up of these countries that we're seeing happening as we speak. The West is buying up everything in both of these countries.
Yes. Sorry.
What Admire does very well is he subtly has these political references in order to keep his family safe, his community safe. The government in Zimbabwe can never tell that this is a political statement. However, we, as we're looking at them and we see these Romanian newspapers, know that these references exist. He's born in 81. There's a lot of expectations that his generation would change everything. They would be the born frees. Unfortunately, just like in Eastern Europe, that generation tends to be quite corrupt and quite status quo with what came before them. Terence Musekiwa, born in 1990. He's very important because he learned how to sculpt stone from his father, and his father learned from an ancestor. So all of a sudden we're talking about oral histories that have been passed down through his family. We're also talking about this discourse that we're constantly having recently about how oral histories are disappearing from Africa because they're not written down. So he becomes a very important artist because we have a present working artist who's showing us exactly how these techniques and these methods and these philosophies were passed down. However, he's even more important because he's mixing it with this very unique language of found materials. This happens to be a clock from 100 years ago that's from the UK. So again, making that connotation with post-colonialism, but also they're really sturdy sculptures. I'll show you the little ones as well, which are just absolutely fantastic. Everyone is obsessed. We've sold most of them. And you see him using these materials that are putting us in time, right? These phones exactly now are disappearing. We no longer find them in our homes, so we find them in our junkyards. So we know that these are made today. This is when we're throwing them away. This is a pressure measurer. Again, you're looking at stone, in this case, green opal, mixed with these found materials. And of course, like the most delicious little drawing. They're super solid. He's a real sculptor. You see them. He's very special. He will be in the Venice Biennial next year, as well as the Dakar Biennial. So we're quite excited for a 30-year-old artist to be in 2 biennials in 1 year. Our last artist is born in 1995. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I wanted to ask you about the referral with time and space. It seems that there is a big inspiration to this throughout Artissima. Do you think the same in this edition?
I think right now, collectively and globally, we're very interested in time and space, right? We're all of a sudden having the same experience, which never happens. We're typically at very different times in space, in different countries, on different continents. But the pandemic really brought us together. It made us think about a pandemic time. Technically, I think our children will be a pandemic generation. They'll be shaped by it. So I think maybe whether it's explicitly or whether it's sort of through instinct, we care about what time this is. And this is where I believe it's coming from.
Yes, I really do. And I think, there is, as you were saying, a reconciliation also with the past, with what happened a couple of months ago. I think to go forward, I think we have to, to reconcile.
And we also know that the curators, the museums, as well as the collectors are very interested in Africa right now, right? It was a space that was left out. We're trying to catch up. The West tends to say, oh, Africa, this emerging market. It's not an emerging market. It has been around for a long time. These makers have been around for a long time. And so we're also learning quite a bit about the history that has always been there that we consider to be kind of collapsed, as if all of a sudden African artists woke up and made. That's not the case, right? We have to learn in this case.
You are absolutely right. And yesterday we were in Lagos with an emergent gallery, but with incredible artists, really, as you say. Yep. They've been there for a long time, and yep. It's incredible. But let's see the last before going. Unfortunately, that I will have to leave you and give space to everybody that is waiting. This is phenomenal, also fantastic.
This is Troy Makaza.
Yes,
he's born in '95. Mm-hmm. You see this freedom that he has. He's the youngest. He's not stuck in anything. He's not thinking about tradition. He's not thinking about anything besides his own use of materials. We're looking at silicone infused with paint. So he's making his own colors, and he's really mimicking to some extent these tapestries that his mother was making as a child. And yet he thought about using silicone because he was building houses with his father. So again, you have these connections to real life in a very inventive type of material. So these have been quite the hit here as well, because they're stunning, they're reminiscent, they belong to all of us. We all grew up with textiles, but he tends to reinvent it so we don't fall into that kind of typical textile type of experience.
Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful book. So I hope for everybody not to miss you, and hopefully to meet you somewhere very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carolina.
And if anybody will ask any questions, we'll come back to you if you have the patience to be with us a little bit longer. Thank you. So now we're going to find an amazing artist that I met in Premio Cramum and his gallery, Laurence from Douwens and Binaert. I hope I pronounced it well. From Brussels. Laurence, are you there? And Maxime.
I'm going to talk because I'm just going to ask her, because it seems the booth is busy. So I'm just going to ask her to connect it, if you don't mind. She's going to be connected in 1 minute. Sorry.
Don't worry. How are you, Maxime?
Yeah, I'm really good, actually. I'm happy to talk to you. It was great to meet you in Milano last time, and I'm happy to be back in Italy 1 month after. So for everybody, just to present myself, I'm one of the artists of the Douwens and Binaert Gallery, which is based in Brussels. And I'm presenting like a couple of sculptures over there. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there because I have the works here in Brussels. I'm just going to ask my gallery maybe like to get connected now, so we can just make a quick tour and leave the place for someone else.
Yes, but also, Maxime, you have, can you show your studio maybe?
Yeah, so actually, yeah, that's my studio. Like, I mean, I can't really move because it's my computer, but so you can see here at the back,
yes.
It's a project for sculptures that I've done for a private collection in Spain. It was in bronze, and I did it in cordon steel also. So I'm making like a series of small ladders, which are like part of like moment of life. It's like, you know, in a movie, when you move with your camera, we call this a traveling, and you put this like on a track, and so the camera is following it, and I kept it like a moment of life also. And so I've made like a series of it, especially right now, because we know it's difficult for moments for everybody. And so I've integrated pieces of glasses in it to just talk about like the fragility of the moment. And it's every time it's like a shape of the ladder, talking about like a moment, about like an event or something that happened, like the one you saw in Milano, which was
I still shiver when I feel about that piece.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate we talk about it, actually, because yeah, it was a special piece for me. But so yeah, so that's what I'm showing now in Artissima. Unfortunately, I was hoping my gallery was joining so she can present maybe like the booth, but it seems she's busy for the moment. So I suggest we can pass to someone else, and maybe she'll be connected later, and she's just going to make a quick tour, if you don't mind, so we don't lose time.
Fantastic, but
thank you so much for having me.
We can talk about your other piece. It's if you can later.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maxime. Have tune in. And now we have from Double B Gallery, Nicolas. Can you hear me, Nicolas? Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, thank you for
Sorry,
joining us.
I had some complication to get connected to you. So we are live on the fair at the new entry section. I am Nicolas, the founder of W Gallery, created in Marseille since almost 5 years, and we opened a new space in Paris since 5 months. And we are very happy to be here today for the first time in Artissima Torino, where we present 3 emerging artists.
Yes.
I'm gonna make a tour around with my computer. There is the work of Bea Bonafini that we exhibit for the first time.
Yes.
Then you have the marble marquetry of Alice Guitar behind me with this polyptych. We also have a secret corridor inside the booth where you can find some other pieces by these 2 artists. And today I would like to present you a focus on the work of a third artist called Yugos Schiavi. It's a French artist that is 34 years old, born in Paris and living in Marseille, that we represent since our very beginning. Why Hugo? Because today he launched a new solo exhibition in the Museum of Arles in the south of France called Museum Réatu, where he will present the new body of works he worked on since almost 2 years. And we are very pleased to be able to present some specific pieces from these new productions. So to start, Yugos Schiavi got his first recognition in 2016 in France by his concrete and steel sculptures created by molds on the statues of our patrimony in the streets and in the public space. He creates telescoping between the old, the ancient, and the new by creating the meeting between fragments of statues from the streets and fragments of human bodies, real human bodies. You can find some work of that series at the deep end of our booth, just here. And since 2 years, the artist has developed his practice with research more on the Anthropocene era and some ecological preoccupation, where he keeps his molding technique on the statues, where he creates the pieces with a new media than concrete, but with a conglomerate of plastic, and also working on new kind of production that you can see on the pedestals here and behind me there. Some kinds of chimeric stones that he molds on the rocks on the beach close to a petrochemical factory in Fos-sur-Mer, close to Marseille. And then he creates a combination between some mineral objects, sea plants, and human artifacts. You can find some, computer stuff and also some plastic bottle parts. So he tried to find, like, there is not specifically a politic criticism on the pollution of the human activity. He more tried to find the poetry by creating a new meeting between the creativity of nature and the creativity of humankind. So here you have an example of the new kind of works he creates. And if you happen to be in Arles in the next month to come, you will be able to find the whole project of the artist.
But this is beautiful. I think it's really, it's like, I was thinking, it's like a meteorite or like a piece of coral.
Exactly.
But beautiful, beautiful.
It's like exactly taken from the coral aspect by creating this kind of chimeric ecosystem. I'm sorry for my bad English. I did my best to explain you the work.
I have to be sorry. I have to excuse for my English. So thank you. Your English is Perfect, better than mine. Thank you. Don't worry. It was beautiful explained, and I have to say your booth, the choreography, it's exceptional.
Thanks a lot.
You know, being for the first time, you know, in Artissima, who did your booth? Who was the?
We always try to do something more than just hanging pieces on the white walls. For the wall of Bea Bonafini, it's really it's a habit from the artist when she creates solos in galleries and when she has focus in art fairs. She tries to make us get deep more inside her productions by creating this scenograph on the walls. She, for example, has a solo also at Renata Fabri gallery in Milano at the moment, where she also plays with the architecture of the space and creating links between the piece and the colors of the wall. So this is the work of Bea Bonafini, like she decided and designed the wall. And for the two other artists, like the aspect of the marble marquetry of Alice Guitar and also of the quite white aspect of the sculpture of Yugos Schiavi, I thought that this black background could give more contrast on the apprehension of these two kind of artwork with some, you know, almost cultural feeling for the marble and very, sorry, I lost my English.
No, it is quite inspiring because, you know, hopefully we will have later Andrea Isola, who actually organized the entire Artissima booth and flashback. So I hope he will be joining very soon, but it was really, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks
so and yes, we will follow all your next artistic adventures. So now we are, thank you again, and we are going to jump with Andrei Yekza.
Carolina?
Bye. Yes, Maxime.
I'm sorry, it's just because I have a meeting at 7 and I see my gallerist is just connected with us.
Oh,
do you mind if we make a quick tour? I'm sorry.
A quick minute. So yes. I just want to say to yes, please.
So I just introduced is Laurence Doans, who is just there. I don't know if you see her.
Hello, Laurence.
I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Of course. Laurence, hello. How are you?
Laurence, we don't hear you.
Okay.
You have to connect your speaker.
Yes. Hopefully she will. You have to send her maybe a message.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry.
Don't worry. It's the audio.
You have to turn on the audio.
Yes.
On your phone, Laurence. Yeah, sorry for all the technological problems. And
no, we are going through this every day. Don't worry. I'm a dinosaur on the technology, unfortunately. I will just say to Andrei Yekza that is coming very soon, just to wait for us for a few minutes. Laurence?
Hello?
Yes.
You hear me?
Well done.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry,
welcome.
Laurence. How are you?
Fine. I'm alone on the booth for the moment. It's because of that. Sorry, I didn't join you earlier, but I will present the booth very fast, if it's okay for you.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, wait. I'll turn my camera.
You have to go very slowly, Laurence. Very slowly. Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. You see? Okay, so we are at main section, and this is our booth. And as you can see here, it is one of the main pieces is the work of Maxime.
Yes.
Where he took, as he already explained, he works a series of ladders. He made a series of ladders because ladders are pure objects to use, and he takes away the function. They are not functional anymore, but he makes aesthetical objects with it. So you can see here, and also at the other side. Oh, sorry. I see many references also to the history of art, like to Dali, for example, in his pieces.
And the shadow, it's quite beautiful.
Yeah, the shadows are beautiful.
Yes.
Look, it's a beautiful piece.
Beautiful with the lights.
Yeah, very impressive. And next to it is a work of Charlotte van den Broek. It's a young artist also of the gallery. And she works around the ideas of the early drawing, perspective drawing of the Renaissance. Because in the beginning, they were not very good at making depth in their works. So they very often, like Fra Angelico and Giotto, they often added niches in their works and to create a depth. And so this is based on those works. Sorry, I have to leave because there's somebody asking me questions.
Okay,
I'm so sorry.
We will leave. We will leave you. As I said, I bring always good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
We bring
sorry.
some people on.
Okay.
Have a lovely time. Thank you to you.
Sorry.
Bye, Maxime.
Bye,
Maxime.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And we are going with the yes. Hello, Andre.
Hi. Yes, hi.
Hello. Thank you for waiting for us.
No worries. We are actually neighbors with Florence here, so it's great. I just saw that she was online already.
So, Andre, where are you from? So, first of all, your gallery is?
My gallery is from Timișoara, Romania. We are in the west of the country. It's a rather unusual place. People already ask, is it Bucharest or is it Cluj? So we are in a third most important city in Romania, I would say. Probably the most important for contemporary art recently. Yeah, we are from Timișoara and we are for the first time in Artissima. And the project we had last year, which was postponed because of COVID, and where Ioana Stanca was exhibited at GAM, was at that time curated by Domenico De Chirico. And we kept the same artist with a different concept for this year's edition. So I will quickly give you a tour of the artists, and probably I hope I can make this right. Let me see.
Yes.
1 second. How do I turn the camera?
So how while you are doing the Zoom, the technological, how do you feel Artissima for the first time?
I mean, for the first time, it's a fair that is very. I mean, I was not expecting it to be so international and to has such a great audience. So we are very happy to be part of the fair. We did some international other fairs in the past, but this is quite a unique and a great experience for us to be part of Artissima. So very quickly, because we are also kind of busy right now.
Yes.
So we are showing in a dialogue section 2 artists. One that we represent for a long time that you see now on the screen. He's a painter who is also interested in photography and film and sculpture more recently. His name is Genti Corini from Albania, Tirana. In a joint presentation with Ioana Stanca, that is a painter by training, but discovered that in a very male-dominated painting world in Romania, she had to find herself a language that speaks about her more than painting does. So she moved from collages to embroidery. And we decided to show a very early embroidery of hers, which is this one, the Prophet with Many Eyes, alongside a more recent work of her that is this one from this year, where you see her language that developed a lot also technically, but also on a theme-based. Her world is very, it speaks very much about herself, especially that the flowers, the motifs, the needle, everything is related to her own story. And these blue lilies in Romanian are called panseluțe. And panseluțe it's derived from the French word pensée. So it's like a dream-like experience of the arts. And it reflects very much the state of, let's say, uncertainty that is related to the dream world, as you would see in these reclining nudes that are inspired by probably the first imagery that she relates to, that was an embroidery made by her grandmother, a naive embroidery made by her grandmother. So in the dialogue, that it's very fortunate because some of the people just asked us if it's a one painter, one artist, or there are actually 2. For Corini, she is very much inspired. I will show you a book that's an artist book of his that shows his inspiration, and this is actually he says about himself that he's a realist painter because what he's seeing in Albania is actually a very colorful and ambiguous reality. He finds himself in a sort of hybrid world that is kind of a world that is in between two worlds, like you'll see this works, this one work here. So yeah, he's already part in major international and European collections and from corporate to private. On the other side, Ioana is really our first collaboration with her, and we're really looking forward for her solo show in the gallery next year. And yeah, I mean, we are very happy to have both artists here with us tonight. So it's a joint great pleasure.
But can they say a few words or not? Your
I haven't prepared them for that. So yeah, okay, they speak through the work. I would say better than they will. They do speak through the words. So yeah.
No, you were amazing. So just in case they were there, it would have been always nice to meet the artists. I think it's always the most beautiful.
Yeah, this is Genti and Ioana. Yeah, well, you know, always artists like to talk about themselves, so through their art, so not through the words. So that's I think the art speaks more languages.
Andrei, thank you very much for your time. I think, you know, it's always through the fairs that there is always a lot of people, and I really thank you for taking the time for us today. So
thank you, Carolina, for inviting me. It was really a pleasure, and I hope I was not too quick because I tend to speak very quickly. So I hope we kept the time right.
We're trying to follow up. Yes. Okay. No, thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much.
So have a wonderful Artissima. And now we are. Thank you again. Bye. Thank you. And we are going to be with Ocean Arati from Ho Gallery from Dakar. Hello, Ocean. How are you?
Hi. How are you?
So nice to see you. Hello.
Yeah. Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
So yes, as you said, we are from Dakar and we made it.
Wow. Wow. And I cannot believe how big is this picture that you sent me.
Yeah, you see.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. I could not understand it, you know, through the picture, how big.
Let me send you the view of our booth.
Yes.
So we are presenting two artists. One artist from South Korea, Jiwili. She's based in Germany.
Yes.
And so she works on NG paper, the traditional paper in South Korea. And we're presenting a second artist who is from Cameroon, Patrick Joël Tacheda Yonke, and he worked also on paper, oil and pigment on paper. And the particularity of the work of Patrick, so this is the other side of the installation. The particularity of the work of Patrick is he's based in Italy, so the time to dry is really quick here. But in Senegal or in Africa, it took 1 or 3 years to be completely dry. So we have to wait a really, really long time to have the pieces available for the gallery. And so for Artissima, because he's based in Bologna, it's a first fair for him here in Italy.
Fantastic, fantastic. So the artist, so is he in Bologna?
Yes, he's based in Bologna. He did the art school of Bologna in 2011.
I see. So wonderful. So we could actually meet him. I can meet him in Bologna.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, really. It's a wonderful piece, I have to say. Yes. Really, I love it because the color, it's again striking, but I could not, you know, it's always different when you see it from a picture.
Yeah, totally.
The dimensionality of life. Thank you. Beautiful.
You're welcome.
And so, Ocean, what is your next fair that you're going to attend?
For the moment, we are going to wait because we are opening a new space in Dakar of 600 square meters. So we wait. We have a new baby to carry. Oh. But we hope maybe Paris Art Fair or Cape Town Art Fair. We will see.
Fantastic. Oh, wow. So please keep us updated with all your, you know, with the new
pleasure.
Baby, as you call it. And we would love to see how it develops and to come to Dakar.
With pleasure. Thanks
for
a
us,
lot.
It's really to dream on. And how long, are you going to have the artist soon? So maybe you can send us some more pictures.
I can send more picture of him, but he's quite actually just here.
Oh, can we meet him? Can we
yes,
meet
of course.
Yes,
Patrick, if you want to talk, we are on live. So do you hear everyone?
Hello, hello, how are you?
Let me, baby. It's okay?
It's okay.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us without any preparation. It is an honor to meet you. As I said, it's so beautiful to speak to the artist and to know. As I said, I was surprised by your installation because it was sent as a picture, and I could not understand how huge was.
Big.
So, well done.
2.5 meters, yes.
Thank you very much. For me, it's an honor to be here with my gallery and to participate in this huge manifestation of sculpture. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you. Thank you for giving the art talk a few moments. Bellissimo. Grazie.
Thank you, Carolina. We have a few people. Take care, and maybe meet you in Dakar, maybe.
Va bene.
Bye-bye.
Pleasure. Merci, au revoir. So as I said, I think for many was not the first time. For many was the first time, and I think you can see today is only Friday night, so tomorrow I think it's been quite busy. But we wish you a wonderful weekend, and hope that everybody will have a chance. We had the other ones were Francesco Pantalone, Tatiana Peters from Belgium, Shrine Empire, and Swiss Logistic that with Carlotta Vasoli, but they will be in Wopart in Lugano on the 18th, so we will join them soon. Andrea Isola hopefully will join us another time to tell us all the how to create the booth from zero in Flashback and Artissima. And yes, so our adventure has arrived to an end. I wish you all a wonderful evening, and thank you for being with us 3 days in a row. I cannot believe it. Thank you for your support.